Hi all, in this episode we're going to be talking about zoning, creating distinct areas and zones in your home.
I guess the way that I've looked at zoning is needing to zone and create separation for ourselves physically, psychologically as well.
Yeah.
So, as well as in a space, being able to divide that space into different areas where we can perhaps use it as a gym or use it as your yoga space or your study or a playroom. I think it's also important to create that separation in our daily lives in a more psychological way. So what's the beginning of our day? What do we do to break up the day when it comes to after we've finished our work? How do we then move into the evening space as well? So there's lots of different ideas around zoning, and I think we've had to really explore a lot of those ideas this year.
Well, I think the first one that everyone immediately had to face was working from home, and that sort of impacted our lives immediately.
Yes.
And all of a sudden you might have a household where there's two people now at home all day, as well as kids around as well. So creating those zones in the home where you can switch on, switch off, that's really important to stay focused.
I've known people that have had to move their two children into one of the bedrooms just to free a room up so that they've got a space where they can work and they can do video calls. They use that as their sort of yoga space or their gym in the morning. And within that space, maybe there's a small corner where they've put a chair so they can meditate in the morning and close the door to the kids.
Yes.
So there's lots of different ways that people have had to do things.
Well, it's about finding those spaces in the home that can accommodate our needs, because a lot of people straight away just had to start working from the dining table.
Yes.
But it's now about moving forward. It's about looking at where are those little nooks, all the corners, and finding the pieces of furniture that might be double duty in certain ways.
Yes, absolutely. I started off in the dining room.
Yep.
And then I moved to the study because I needed to close the door and I needed to separate the day. But I think, not everyone has a space that they can create a study. And whether it's a beautiful nook that they can put a nice console and use that as a desk, and then later on use that as a dressing table in their bedroom. So we've had to think about furniture quite differently, about how things can be used in a multifunctional kind of way as well.
Well, you also don't want to have a big study desk in the middle of your living room or something like that. It's creating an office at home or a space at home without that sort of utilitarian aesthetic. You want it to still feel designed and beautiful and thoughtful.
And space is really precious, so it has to be used to the maximum that it can be. I think also, with sort of architecture, and we're as a country, we are very into open plan living, and I think that's always going to be important. But people have certainly been thinking about maybe adding a room as a library or a study, or maybe an extra room that could be that multifunctional room too.
Yeah, I know people who rent as well. Instead of looking for the one bedroom, they're looking for a two-bedroom place now, or they're looking for that 1.5 where there's a large closet that can turn into the desk that can be shut away, things like that. There are different sort of work from home situations that people will be approaching. We thought this will be a temporary thing, and then it sort of was extending longer and longer, and now a lot of offices are on a semi-permanent situation. So it is something that we're not just going to move on from this.
No.
We will have to figure out how to live with our desks in our living rooms from now on.
Absolutely. Yeah, workplaces certainly have become a lot more flexible. So, I think this is going to be an ongoing thing where perhaps you work a couple of days at home, so you'll need that space at home. And then the rest of the week, perhaps you get to go into work, or it really depends, especially where you're living in the country. But it's going to be very flexible going forward for sure.
Australians love an open plan living situation.
Yes.
It's what we've all wanted, to just get rid of all the walls. But how does that work now with zoning when you're almost adding an extra room into the open plan? Is open plan going to be less relevant, or?
I don't think so. I think, as you say, it's an Australian thing. We love to entertain, we love open spaces, we love to see a lot of light in our spaces, and maybe it's about zoning those larger spaces, whether you're dividing the room with a couch and a console or a screen or a shelving unit, that sort of thing. So I think We have to be flexible in the spaces that we currently have. But certainly this open plan living is so important to Australians. You know, I don't think it's going to go away. I don't think it can.
It's about, you know, no zone of your home can now just be that decorative corner almost. Like every part of the home needs to have that importance.
Yeah, I think there's a greater sense of gratitude, you know, to our spaces, and as we were talking about earlier about the psychological effect of zoning, you know, this idea of ritual and has become just so huge, you know, within the space that people are wanting areas that they can start the day in and finish the day in and have a beautiful moment.